Scandal-scarred Pam Bondi. Oh, I love the sound of that. She's having so many difficulties running the Department of Justice. I wonder why. I wouldn't have picked her to run a bath, let alone the Department of Justice. More than 70, meaning 2/3 of the federal programs department or division of the Department of Justice have taken for the exits. They've left the building because they don't want to work for Donald Trump anymore. And they're one of the most important cadre of litigators because they're the ones that are supposed to be defending Donald Trump's most insane programs and policies about the Department of Justice, about the DOJ, about birthright citizenship. Some of the immigration policy flows through that as well. And yet all the lawyers left. And they've only been replaced by 16 political lackeys trying to do the work of 70, including more than 23 senior leaders. Do you know where they're all going? They're all going to major public interest groups like Democracy Forward to work with Sky Perryman and go work with Norm Eisen and all the other law firms and public interest firms and attorneys general that are opposing the Trump administration in the 400 cases with more to come down the road. I break it all down for you the only way I know how, without blowing smoke or sunshine, on a new podcast on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. called The Intersection. Yes, Midas threw me the keys, 8 p.m. Tuesday nights, and here's a clip. Okay, let's talk about the Department of Justice. You got 70 different people in the Trump Department of Justice in the Federal Programs Division, which is the section of the Department of Justice that tries to defend all things related to Trump agencies and the White House, which basically is his entire domestic portfolio. 70 or 2/3 of them have left, including half of the supervisors, because they can't take it anymore. According to Reuters, they just can't stand idly by with the destruction of our constitutional republic and rule of law that they swore an oath to defend. And so they're voting with their feet and they're heading for their exits. And you know where they're going? I just had on my show Sky Perryman, who runs Democracy Forward, and groups like that in the American Civil Liberties Union and Norm Eisen's group and attorneys general around the country are picking up this talent to go work for them in defense of democracy. So don't feel sorry for them. They're still fighting for our democracy, but now they'll do it from outside the government. I mean, we just had Pam Bondi, scandal-ridden Pam Bondi, about to be fired by Donald Trump. Pam Bondi, the one that Laura Looney Loomer is after, the one who got barely a thumbs up at the World Cup club game. Donald Trump loves attending sporting events. That's all he does now. When he's not dropping bombs and going after his enemies, his perceived enemies, he just goes to sporting events. That's all he does. So Pam Bondi decides that this is a good week during the Epstein scandal and her career hanging on by a thread to fire senior leadership as well in the Department of Justice. So you got the 70 lawyers heading for the door who quit and resigned. By the way, any or all of them that want to come on Legal AF, come on over. Let's have a conversation and brief our audience. Then you've got, continuing the draining of brains, you've got Pam Bondi deciding now's a good time off the United States Supreme Court decision from a week or so ago that gave Donald Trump the right to continue to just fire indiscriminately federal workers, even though that hollows out agencies that can only be put out of business by Congress, who's the only entity that can fund them. But the Supreme Court was like, nope, we're going to lift the stay and we're going to allow the federal workers to all be canned. So Donald Trump was like, all right, well, there's federal workers within the Department of Justice. Let's can them too. So she cans her head ethics lawyer, Joe Terrell, except she spells his name wrong. I'm not making this up because he posted the letter on LinkedIn and said he's going to continue to defend democracy. He's just not going to do it as the ethics counsel. Now, maybe he got sideways with the Trump administration and Pam Bondi and Ed Martin, who used to be the acting U.S. attorney for D.C., but he couldn't get confirmed there. So they slid him over to be the head of the anti-weaponization working group for Pam Bondi. You know, he's got those Jan Sixers in there that are working with him. And I'm sure this is one of his fevered dreams, to get rid of Joe Terrell. because Joe Terrell also, part of what he does in that office is look at financial entanglements and arrangements, determine whether there's an ethical breach. And he found that the $140,000 worth of free legal service obtained by then special counsel Jack Smith did not violate any ethics codes. Well, that's not what MAGA wanted to hear. So they dumped him. Without a cause, which they're not allowed to do. I mean, until Trump got in, we had a civil service protection series of cases and case law, and a Supreme Court willing to back it, and a Merit System Protection Board to protect federal workers. We don't have that any longer because Donald Trump fired the head, and the Supreme Court said it was okay to do that, and he never replaced anybody, and there's no quorum to operate. So there is no protection for federal workers or unionized workers in America at the present time. There's no National Labor Relations Board. There's no Merit Systems Protection Board. There's no nothing. There's no Supreme Court protecting the rights of workers. For all you labor union leaders that decided not to support with all your heart and soul and with both hands and both feet Kamala Harris and the Democrats, shame on you. Look what just happened. Look what's just happened. So we've got everybody getting canned who had anything to do with the investigations or prosecutions of Donald Trump. That's obvious. And we've got all these career prosecutors and staff that are the legacy of the Department of Justice and the brains all heading for the doors, either voluntarily or involuntarily. Welcome back. Finally. 5 years, they let me go anchorless. Well, I'm the only anchor. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern time, I sit at the intersection of law, politics, and the defense of our democracy. I curate some of the best topics that I think you need to know. It's a live show. You can leave your comments. I try to answer them. Some Q&A in there as well. Make it lively. Join me at the intersection, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays on the Midas Touch Network. We could use your help on audio downloads. Go find those wherever you get your podcast from, Apple, Spotify, and the rest. And of course, you can pick us up on YouTube. YouTube counts as well. And then, of course, we've got the Legal AF YouTube channel that could use your love. Hit the subscribe button. It's all free, nothing behind a paywall. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.